Welcome to another reading from Lord MEHER. We are currently on online page 1583 in the year 1933. Okay, but pick it up, please.
Film projects and work in India. This made Saeed smile, and he replied, "Never, Baba." "Then why do you look like you are about to die?" Baba joked. Syed began laughing and felt happy once again. After staying the day, the Nasik group left by the night train. During Baba's stay in Nasik, Sarosh did not go even once to see him because of his preoccupation with his own private business affairs, which were flourishing. Later, when Baba returned to Meherabad, Sarosh was given a strict instruction to visit from 3 to 6 p.m. daily. However, every day Sarosh was met with a strange reception. Baba would talk with everyone except him. Baba would not inquire anything of him or even look at him. Hurt, Sarosh felt very bad, but did not say anything. After a number of days, Baba asked him, "Is something wrong with you? You look very upset." Sarosh replied, "You call me here every afternoon. You make me sit with the mandali for hours, but you don't even look at me. You completely ignore me. And you are feeling this neglect very much?" "Yes, Baba, I am," Sarosh said with feeling. Baba countered, "Now you will understand how I felt all those years in Nasik when you never came to see me. Did you ever think about how bad I felt then about your not coming to see me? You are pained because I am not paying attention to you. How do you like the taste of your own medicine?" Sarosh burst into tears and fell at Baba's feet, begging forgiveness. Baba warned him, "Pay attention, Sarosh. However much you may want to get rid of me or get away from me, you cannot do so, nor can I get rid of you. I am in you and you are in me. If you don't believe me, open up your shirt and see." As Sarosh described, this I did, and there on my naked chest was Baba's image. At this, overcome, I dashed my head on the floor before him. Blood came out and I fainted. Then he took my head in his lap, revived and consoled me. Sarosh was his old self again from that day on and went to Baba as often as he could. Sarosh's wife, Vilu, however, would not accompany him to Meherabad, as she was not devoted to Meher Baba at the time. But years later, Vilu came to love her husband's master. Baba went to Arangan on Saturday, December 23, 1933. Walu was staying at her house in the village and going up the hill each day to be with the other women mandali. Baba visited with Walu, Maruti, Patil, and Chagan's family, who were staying in the family quarters. Baba once remarked to Walu, "I come down from the hill twice daily to go to the mandali's quarters and have to walk up twice more. How much better it would be if there were shade trees lining the path." Walu was a very caring, devoted person, and that very day, she began planting saplings on both sides of the narrow dirt road. A scarcity of water made it difficult to nourish them, but Walu would carry water from a far distance on her shoulders for this purpose. It is because of Walu's initial labor of love that day we find some of those same shade trees still lining both sides of the path leading up Meherabad Hill. Although Walu had other chores, she still found time for this extra work, and it has resulted in a boon to all pilgrims coming to Meherabad. Water at Meherabad was a critical problem, and the job of laying a new pipeline under the railway tracks was started in December. During 3 weeks of work, all the pipes were connected and the tank on top of the hill was cleaned. On the afternoon of the 24th, the mechanical hand-operated pump was started. The first water was pumped up the hill, saving much labor of carrying it up by bullock cart each day. Throughout December 1933, Baba had been in regular correspondence with his Western lovers through Chanji. And here are a few of their replies. Noni wrote from Paris on 5 December. I am so blessed in just being able to think about you. I pray I may be able to do something to meet with your approval. My greatest happiness will be to serve you always. From Quentin, Paris, 7 December. It will be the first time that Christmas has felt real to me. You must have been wonderful then, though even more so now. I seem to have a long way to go before I am fit to join you, but circumstances are always helping me. I see your hand in everything that happens. From Ruano, Paris, 9 December. I think of you always, my beloved Baba. And when I think of you, the way becomes smooth and the shadows disappear. I know all will turn out for the best, even though there are so many difficulties. I long only to do what you wish. How wonderful it will be when we are all together again. Your letters give me the greatest joy. How I love you, my heart. Everything is nothing where you are not, and my heart weeps for you continuously. I don't understand you at all, but myself is drowned in you. And I mean that you are all for me. Keep me close. Your child misses her daddy so. From Will Beckett, London, 20 December. We always feel you and your compelling love with us, and pray that it may radiate through us to all and everyone. You have indeed blessed me above all I could ask or think. Everywhere and in everyone do I seek for and try to see the perfect one you have revealed to my heart in yourself. And there you are enthroned always. From Europe, Narina, Anita, Andre, Aaron, Otto Haas, Hetty, and Walter Mertens together sent Baba this Christmas telegram. Remembering past Christ, we greet coming Avatar. KK Manakar came to see Baba on 25 December 1933. Jalbhai, thinking he had finally found a boy whom Baba would like, brought Bhagirath Premraj Tiwari on the 26th. Bhagirath was a 10-year-old boy from Parner village whose mother had died, and Baba liked him very much. Would you do the work I give you? Baba asked him. Assuredly, the boy answered. Adi Sr. was sent to obtain the boy's father's permission, which he gave. Baba instructed Bhagirath to fill a clay water pot, called a chatti for him each day, and Bhagarath began doing so. He did it for 20 consecutive days, but Baba did not drink even once from that pot during this period. On the 21st day, Bhagarath did not fill the earthenware pot, yet Baba asked for water that day. Explaining, Bhagarath said, "I did not fill the pot today." Baba asked him why, and he answered, "I filled it for 20 days, but you never drank from it. So I wondered what the point was." "What else do you have to do with it if I take water from the pot or not?" replied Baba. "You should do whatever work I give to you, and that is all you should be concerned with." Bhagarath learned a very good lesson, and from then on was conscientious about obeying Baba. Bhagarath was once absorbed in thought, and Baba asked him, "What are you thinking?" "Nothing," he replied. "Oh, do not feel shy. Tell me." "There is nothing to tell, Baba." "When I know the thoughts of an ant," Baba informed him, "can I not know your thoughts also?" Bhagarath then said, "I want to go see my sister." Baba responded, "Well then, why didn't you say so? All right, you have my permission to leave for 3 days. Go and then come back." Rustum Gustad Hatidaru of Ahmednagar was later called Rustum Kaka, a young man then in his mid-20s, had been coming with Adi Sr.'s father, Khan Sahib, to see Baba since 1925. At the time, he would simply drive Khan Sahib to Meherabad, having no interest other than giving him a ride. He paid no special attention to Meher Baba and would not salute him. And although Baba would lovingly inquire of him, he was not drawn to him. Rustum was a strict Parsi and thought that it was wrong to believe in one who did not follow the orthodox tenets of Zoroastrianism. The belief left him unaffected by Baba's love for years. During Baba's stay at Meherabad in 1933, Rustum Kaka once again drove Khan Sahib to Meherabad, and he stayed aloof as usual. However, this time Baba called Rustum into his room. Baba was seated peacefully still for a while, and then looked at him with a smile. Rustum Kaka was attracted by something unique in Baba's eyes, which shook him to his very being. He could no longer restrain himself and fell at Baba's feet. Rustum Kaka could not resist the force of love. This was his first obeisance to Baba, and he thereafter became solely dedicated to his cause. After coming under the influence of Meher Baba, this once zealous Zoroastrian became so changed that 7 years later, he fell in love with a Brahmin girl named Sila Patki and married out of his religion. Sila's parents were friends of the Shahains, and she first saw Baba and heard him speak at the Shahains' residence in Arangan in 1925 when she was 7 years old. Her family became devoted to Baba. Her father was a teacher and taught for a time at MEHER Ashram. After the MEHER Ashram was disbanded, its former principal, Dehek, left to study law, financed by Baba. Dehek would occasionally come to visit Baba in Meherabad. One day when he was there with Baba and Adi Sr., Tehek humorously joked at Adi's expense. Adi was insulted and spoke cruelly in return to Tehek, hurting his feelings. Baba ordered Adi to fall at Tehek's feet and ask forgiveness, which he did. Baba then remarked, "To gulp down anger is the most courageous act one can perform. One who does it becomes humble." On 27 December 1933, Ramju Abdullah's son, Dadu, arrived in Meherabad to serve as Baba's orderly. Dadu was another youngster well liked by Baba. During this period, there were discussions about making a film based on Baba's life, and many letters were sent back and forth from India to the West about it. Tehek and Gadekar came on the 28th, as did Rustum from Nasik. Waman Subnis paid a visit the following day. Manek Ranji and Aoji and his family visited Meherabad on the 30th, and another cricket match was played that day also. After his first foreign tour in 1931, Baba had sent the Prem Ashram boy, Aga Ali, to stay in Bombay, and he had only seen Ali once in Nasik a year later. After Baba shifted the ashram to Nasik to Meherabad, Ali came to see Baba on Sunday, 31 December 1933. Baba very lovingly met him and instructed him to stay with his father, which Ali did. Adi Jr. arrived from Pune on 3 January 1934. That day, Dahak, Kaka, Shinchorkar, and Borkar saw Baba. On the 10th, Baba went to a movie at Sarosh Cinema with Adi Sr., Gume, Gustaji, and Adi Jr. He went to another film, a murder mystery, 3 days later with Adi Sr., Adi Jr., Chanji, Sidhu, Sailor, and Padri. Nailu arrived for a visit on the 18th and Beharam on the 23rd. On 24 January, Baba came down the hill as usual at 8 a.m. He asked Pendu if there was any pan. Pendu gave a curt reply, and Baba slapped him in the face. Pendu stormed off, saying he wanted to leave Baba, but Baba pacified him. Jal Bahai enacted a comedy that day in the garden in front of Baba's Jahopti. The scenes were filmed, but there was a fault with the camera and it did not come out. Sarosh and Rustam arrived on the 26th. After discussing his film project with Baba, Rustam left for Nasik. Shanji was instructed to write to Sir Haidari for possible help in financing Baba's spiritual film. When a letter from Narina about the film work was read to Baba on 4 February, Baba commented, "Narina is the best type of devotee, one who does not hesitate to do anything for me." And next reader.
Okay, go ahead, Rosalie.
Nani, Rana, and Ruano, who had been told to come to India for Baba's birthday, were cabled at this time not to come. Instead, Baba was planning to go to Madras for the occasion. On 28th January 1934, Frani Mashi arrived suddenly with her son, Keiki. She was suffering from cancer and was depressed about her condition. She begged Baba to keep her in the ashram. Adi Sr. drove them to Kushru quarters, and Dalit Mai was informed in Nasik. While returning, Adi brought Rusi Pop's daughters Silla, Goher, and Katie to Mehrabad to see Baba. Rusi Pop, Sarosh, and Vilu came the following day. Baba visited Arangawan several times in January and, as usual, settled the villagers' cantankerous disputes. He also visited the construction site there of Maruti Patil's new residence. Once a week, he would go to Sarosh Cinema to see a film. Every day that month in Mehrabad, Baba would take part with the Mandali in a game of cricket. But on the 30th, a stray ball hit him in the chest, and Nilu treated him. On 2nd February, Baba played cricket at 5 in the afternoon and then went with 11 of the Mandali to Sarosh Cinema, where he saw 20,000 Years in Sing Sing with Spencer Tracy and Betty Davis, which he liked very much, and a Fatty Arbuckle comedy, Buzzing Around. Footnote.
During the visit to New York in 1931, Baba had asked to be driven outside Sing Sing prison, where he said he contacted one of his agents who was locked up inside. Footnote.
A Western doctor named Dr. Denning and his wife, along with an Indian doctor, Dr. Karalkar, and a reporter from the Times of India, had come to Mehrabad on 27 January and requested a donation for a free clinic they were running to feed infants. Baba agreed to send 25 rupees per month to support their efforts, and they left highly gratified. On Saturday, 3rd February 1934, Baba went to their institution, the American Mission Baba Children's Welfare Association, with Adi Sr., Vishnu, and Nilu. He was given a tour and saw the infants being bathed and fed. Baba was garlanded, and his photo with the children was taken. Baba then visited Rusi Pop and Korshad's house. Dixit of Kolhapur saw Baba that day also. The next day, Jalbai brought a young dancer from a nearby village. He danced well as Adi Sr. played the harmonium and Adi Jr. the tabla. But Baba did not keep him and had him driven back to his village. Mrs. Shahani came on 5 February and made Baba promise to visit her house in Ahmednagar soon. Kali Mama's son-in-law, Rao Saheb Pandit of Panchgani, and his family came the next day. They stayed for 2 days and left on the 8th, as did Kakubai. Sarosh brought Freni Masi to see Baba on the 10th. Baba told her not to worry about her illness and asked her to stay in Nasik for 2 months with her sister, Dalit Mai. On 11 February, Naval, Faram, and Sailor arrived from Nasik and met Baba. Baba suffered, quotes, heart cramps, end quotes, on the 13th, and again at night. Early the next morning, after walking about a little, he felt better and wanted tea. Sidhu had not yet milked the buffalo, and Baba became upset with him for not milking the buffalo in time. Bua Saheb returned to Meherabad on 15 February 1934 from Persia. His sudden departure from Nasik the previous year had caused a lot of inconvenience for the Mandali, so no one spoke to him when he returned. As he looked from one to the other, they would turn their faces away. He had also left matters at the Circle Cinema in a mess, which added to the bitter feelings of the Mandali. Of his own accord, Bua Sahib had done Baba's work of spreading his name and message in Persia, but Baba had never asked him to go there, nor liked it that he left his responsibilities in Nasik. Baba met him and told him to rejoin the Mandali. When Bua Sahib refused, Baba directed him to go to Nasik and become a partner in Sailor's Tea Stall next to Circle Cinema, and a new restaurant to be opened. So Bua Sahib left, though in his heart he suffered banishment and exile as he obeyed Baba. After a while, Bua Sahib eventually resettled in Pune and opened a restaurant there. Although he no longer lived with Baba and the Mandali, he remained in close contact with Baba and would come to Meherabad from time to time. Footnote.
Badu had also gone to Persia in 1932, where he was conducting a school according to Baba's instructions. At some point, he returned to India and rejoined the Mandali, but the date of his return is not known. End of footnote.
For some time, Sampath Iyengar had been especially anxious for Baba to come to Madras to celebrate his birthday. Accepting the invitation, Baba left Ahmednagar by bus for Dond in the afternoon of 16 February 1934, accompanied by Adi Sr., Chanji, Naval, Pendu, Sailor, Sidhu, and Dadu. Rustam, Ramju, and Syed Sahib left Nasik and met the group at Dond, where they boarded a train. They reached Madras at 5 in the afternoon on the 17th, and Iyengar and others received Baba with great joy and a traditional ceremonial reception. Photographs were taken on the station platform. Baba was then taken to Iyengar's residence, Meher Bhavan, in Saidapet, a suburb of Madras, where he had stayed on his previous visit. That evening, Iyengar's children gathered around Baba, who played with them. Overhearing someone whisper that he, Baba, was fond of children, Baba spelled out, "Yes, because I am but a child. Only after becoming a child did I find it. Not until one becomes a child can one achieve the slightest spiritual experience. Once one becomes a child, one enjoys the bliss. Nothing worries him, neither thoughts, words, or actions." Someone asked, "What is the cause of ignorance?" Baba replies, "The cause of an individual's ignorance is a result of the evolutionary impressions. And for the collective ignorance of humanity, the cause is the outcome of the very first existence. All is infinite. In self-realization, there is no finite. But as long as you are not individually free from the duality exists. The substratum of all this is love. Love is the one and only thing. Devoid of love, everything is miserable. Love is God and everything that is real. Lust is perverted love, so it is unreal. Is this your message to us? Baba replies, yes, this is my message to you and to the whole world also. After a communal meal, Baba retired for the night at 10 p.m. Meher Baba's 40th birthday was celebrated on Sunday, 18 February 1934, with great eclat. Programs of Arti, Bhajan singing, and Darshan began at 7 a.m. A few private interviews were granted during the midday interval, and again from 5 to 6 p.m. after a recital by a professional singer. A large public meeting under the chairmanship of Dewan Bahadur J. Venkata Narayana Naidu was held that evening with many speeches delivered about Baba's life and message. Rustam read out a message dictated by Baba for the occasion. It read in part, "The reason for my coming here all the way from one end of the country to the other to participate personally in your celebrations is your love, which has irresistibly drawn me to you. Love is a mighty force. It not only enables one to put the ideal of selfless service into practice, but would transform one into God." After dinner, Baba agreed to appear at a smaller function held at Georgetown. When a person from the Arya Samaj, an ultra-nationalistic Hindu organization, spoke to the gathering about Baba, Sampath Iyengar had two daughters, Lakshmi and Janaki. At Lakshmi's suggestion, Baba was dressed as Lord Shiva and his photograph was taken. Janaki then wished for Baba to dress as Lord Krishna and then as Christ and Prophet Muhammad. Baba fulfilled the wishes of both devotees and all were extremely happy in his midst. During this brief visit to Madras, Baba explained about Maya to Iyengar. It is like this. If a person wants to take the pearl from the bottom of the ocean, then he should not shout at the pearl to come up while he sits on the beach. If he really wants the pearl, he should try his hardest to plunge to the bottom of the ocean to get it. Now, say that the water of the ocean is Maya and the pearl is God. According to spiritual law, it is essential that the diver not get wet, nor even touch one drop of water while diving. This means it is possible for him to dive and obtain the pearl, but it is impossible for him not to touch even a drop of water in the effort. This impossible aspect of spiritual things really makes the diver worthy of the prize. In order to not touch the water, the diver must put on a full diving suit. Only then will he be able to follow the rule of bringing up the pearl without getting wet. To compare the above with spirituality, take the water of the ocean as Maya, the pearl as God, the diver as the seeker, the diving suit as love, or the willingness to renounce the world, and the man on the beach or boat in charge of the air compressor as the Sadguru. Without the help of the Sadguru to manipulate the air compressor, it is thus impossible for one to dive down and take the pearl, which means to free oneself from the clutches of Maya while remaining in Maya. A man may discharge his worldly duties and maintain a household with a wife and child, but at the same time, he should remain detached from all this, come what may. This does not mean that he should be neglectful of his duties towards his near and dear ones, but that he should have no attachments to it at all. You know that this pen is yours and you use it, but if you lose it, you should not care about it. You should remain detached. The meaning of God realization is emancipation, freedom from the bondage of Maya. But one has to be in Maya to come out of it. So remain in Maya, but do not get enmeshed in it. Keep away from its tricks and snares. Baba left Madrasa.
Okay, Rosalie, thank you.
Yeah.
Let's have one more reader now. Mahu, would you like to read?
Yes, but I have to leave shortly, so let's see how much I can read.
Well, you could try, but your audio is a little choppy there. Let's
I'm
try and
sorry.
see how it goes.
Baba left. Okay, try now. Oh, sure.
I think your audio is
Do you want
frozen up.
me to read or not?
Yeah,
Is
go
it
ahead.
coming along?
Well,
Oh,
I won't know until
okay.
you try, so go ahead.
But can you hear me? Oh, okay. If it goes on a stable, let me know. Page 1592 in year 1934. Baba left Madras on 19 February by the Bombay Express train and reached Meherabad the following day via Sholapur, where Gadekar and Gunathai had Baba's darshan at the station. Rustam and Freni, who had come to Meherabad for a few days, left for Nasik, as did Syed Sahib, Nawal, and Kisan. We continue. Gulma's daughter, Dolly, who was living at Meherabad, became increasingly depressed. For a change, Baba wished for her to go to Karachi with Pilamai, but Dolly refused. She was kept isolated in Baba's jupti for several months on a diet of milk for some days until she calmed down. On 25th February 1934, Nawal and Dina Talati, an Iyengar of Nasik, and his wife saw Baba. Baba instructed Iyengar to stare into the darkness every night before sleeping for 3 minutes with his eyes open and to report to Baba if he saw any colors or had any unusual experiences. They returned to Nasik the same afternoon. Ghani and Abdul Tayyib each came 2 days later and had separate talks with Baba. Baba expressed his displeasure about Ghani's breaking of his orders, perhaps about not imbibing alcohol. Quote, "You have failed me," in quote, Baba said, "but I shall not fail you." After Ghani left, Baba wrote to him, quote, "Disobey if you wish. Remember, I love you all the same, under any circumstances. You are the same old doctor to me, a chum of the key holder to this universe." End quote. Baba paid a visit to Nasik on 8 March, leaving at the 3:30 p.m. with Adi Sr. in his Ponatik, along with Rostam and Sailor. Baba met Franny and her children, visited Circus Cinema and the homes of the Talatis and Etke before returning the following afternoon. He went to see King Kong at Sarosh Cinema before returning to Meherabad. Yeah, there was a film named King Kong. During this same period, Kalemama's wife, Janki, was seriously ill with heart trouble. Baba went to the family quarters to see her on Tuesday, 13 March 1934. She felt so happy at seeing Baba that she forgot her pain. Baba assured her, quote, "You will be freed tomorrow. Do not worry," end quote. The woman expired at 3:30 a.m. that night and was freed forever by the God-man. After the death of his wife, Kalemama moved to the main Mandali's quarters and lived there the rest of his life. The Persian New Year was celebrated on 21st March. Gulmai visited that day. Memo came for a visit at this time, and she and Adi Jr. returned to Pune on the 28th. Memo is Baba's mother. Behram arrived the next day, and Chanji brought Pilamai, Sila, and Bailey on the 30th. Minu Pohawala arrived from Nasik on 3 April 1934 and began staying at Meherabad until he could find a job with Baba's help. Kaka Chinchorkar came on the 8th. He had been quite helpful to Baba recently in facilitating financing for Baba's possible trip to the West and for Baba's other activities. Next page, page 1593. Nawal, Rupamai, and Asar Sahib came that day also. Throughout March, April, and May 1934, telegrams were being sent back and forth, that concerned another possible visit to the West to check progress on the film Baba wished to be made. Norina had cabled Baba from Paris that her first husband, screenwriter Paul Wallmoeller, was willing to work on the script for Baba's film. She also later wrote about her contact with the 40-year-old Hungarian producer Gabriel Pascal, who had made films in Germany with Max Reinhardt, who wished to meet Baba. After meeting you, Norina cabled. Pascal will be capable of any sacrifice for realization. Baba cabled back on 13 and 19 March. Tell Carl to write 2 scenarios, one wholly for me and one for the producers, using in both his superb imagination. My coming in April depends if scenario will be definitely ready. Otherwise cannot come. Boats full. Must book passage immediately. I'm sorry.
Tell Carl to write 2 scenarios, one wholly for me and one for producers, using in both his superb imagination. My coming in April depends if scenario will be definitely ready. Otherwise cannot come. Boats full. Must book passage immediately. On April 25th, in 1934, in a letter, tell Carl that I will personally explain and dictate to him certain important points for this picture, and also impress on him that this picture will surely create a sensation and generate significant interest in the whole world. It will have many marvelous trick scenes and use photography and film techniques in revealing certain secrets of nature's working, never known nor shown up till now on the screen, and quite a surprise for the world too. For all these, I will personally guide him and take his help in producing this picture, which has to be a marvel of art, science, religion, and spirituality to produce the effect necessary. This is a splendid chance of having his name linked with mine through this picture, which will surely earn a unique success, as I am personally to guide and instruct every detail of higher spiritual and subtle life, according also to my own personal experience of the highest truth, and in accordance also with my own ideas to put them into material expression through the medium of the science of modern picture production, which will be a feature unique in its nature. To Pasquale, I will get the wonderful secrets of creation and evolution revealed through trick scenes, which will impress and appeal to scientists all over the world. Secondly, the amazing scenes of higher planes, illumination, and revelation and realization will appeal to all spiritual and religious-minded people, while the thrills and sensations that are contained in the 5 lives reincarnated, scenario already dictated and sent to Carl, lives full of love, lives full of love, hate, romance, revenge, etc., will appeal to the materially inclined masses in the world. Once, Baba wrote to Delia to arrange something very difficult. Delia sent this telegram: I will try. Baba cabled back immediately, leave it. Delia then realized that Baba was dissatisfied and cabled, I will do my best. Baba was pleased and answered, go ahead, I will help you. Though very few words were exchanged in these telegrams, Delia found them to contain a valuable lesson and remembered it for the rest of her life. Baba wished to leave the heat of Meherabad and go into seclusion on Nandi Hill near Bangalore. But before going there, Baba was driven to Nasik on Saturday, 14 April 1934, by Adi Sr. in the Pontiac, accompanied by Adi Jr., Sailor, and Gustaji. There he met with Franey, Rustam, and Naval Talati in regard to their individual family matters. Baba and the Mandali left for Bombay the next day. Baba stayed with Kaka's sister and her husband, Banubai, a Manek confectioner, while the Mandali stayed with Nilu at his apartment in Baikula, across from JJ Hospital. Chanjan saw Baba at 2 p.m. S. Taibji, a former executive engineer at Nasik, now worked as the Nizam of Hyderabad's agent in Bombay. His wife was Lady Haidari's niece. Tayyib, Tayyib, Tayyibji had recently met Baba at Meherabad and brought his wife to meet Baba at 3:30 p.m. Tayyibji's son was living abroad, and the couple voiced their concern about his welfare, wondering if they should make a trip to see him. He is all right, Baba assured them. It is not necessary that you go. I am here, and I see everything from here and know everything. However, if you want to go, go soon and return immediately. Don't stay there too long. Taibji's wife was suffering from depression, and Baba told Taibji privately that she would be better after a year. That night, Baba went to see a movie called Eskimo with Ali Sr. at the Capitol Theater. He saw another film, Tiger Bay, at the Roxy the following night. The manager of the Roxy sent Baba and his group ice cream, and after the film saw him off as he was leaving. Having returned from London, Akbar Haidari and his wife met Baba in Bombay on the 17th morning, when Baba paid a visit to them in their luxurious private railway salon at Victoria Terminus. They sent their American Packard to bring him. Also present were Lady Haidari's sister and her niece and son-in-law. Baba made some interesting comments about the spiritual hierarchy. He said, quote, out of 160 or 170 very advanced souls on earth, only 76 are conscious of their body and the gross world. The rest are musts. 20 of these 76 are indifferent or without duty. 56 perform different duties under the five perfect masters. Numerous walis, peers, and saints at different stages of advancement work as agents. Every place, village, town, and city has its agent or chargeman. A Hyderabad agent is a wali who moves about in rags and is unknown to people. Will you point him out when you come to Hyderabad? Sir Haidari asked. Certainly, Baba said. Baba described the spiritual planes and other topics relating to his spiritual film. Sir Haidari offered to try to contribute towards it and facilitate efforts to have it made. He then discussed his son Ali's career and pending marriage. Baba advised them to have Ali see him when he returned from London. The interview lasted an hour, and the couple was very happy to receive Baba. Baba had not been to Bombay for more than 4 months, and his lovers there were anxious to meet him, which he permitted. Many came to see him throughout the day and into the night. Baba also visited some at their homes. He would visit the Dada Chanji family each time he was in Bombay, and was always particular to spend time with Naroji's 3 daughters, Arnabaz, Nargis, and Rhoda, who each loved him dearly, as did their mother, Bakamai. Chanji had not only brought his immediate family to Baba, but had brought a large number of other relatives and acquaintances as well. Bakamai's younger sister, Suna Nariman Engineer, was also a firm believer in Meher Baba. Footnote there, Suna Nariman Engineer had a daughter named Dolly. Okay. When Suna first met Baba at Bakamai's home, she was told beforehand to bow to him. She had replied sharply, I do not bow to anyone except God. But when she came face to face with Baba, she fell at his feet at once. Baba invited her to sit beside him and remarked to her, I was Zoroaster, yet there are some who would like to murder me. A darshan program was arranged at the Dada Chanji's home, and a large number of people attended. Baba left Bombay for Bangalore at 1:45 p.m. on 17 April 1934, traveling in a third-class compartment on the Madras Express train. He was accompanied by Kaka, Chanji, and Gustaji. A crowd of lovers had gathered at Victoria Terminus to give him a loving send-off. Baba had wrapped a shawl in Arab fashion around his head and was wearing large black sunglasses to avoid being recognized. He did not allow anyone to bow to him and did not embrace anyone before boarding, so that his identity would remain a secret. At the Pune train station, a throng was awaiting Baba's arrival and included the Maharaja of Bor, who presented to Baba an exquisite garland, truly fit for a king. The train halted for 15 minutes, and Baba's arrival was loudly acclaimed with resounding cries of his jay. Vishnu had come from Meherabad with the mail, and he was given certain instructions by Baba, as were Behram and Kalamama. Jalbai joined the group in Pune, and their train arrived at 7:20 p.m. in Bangalore on the evening of the 18th. Nandi Hill, a sacred spot to Hindus and a place of pilgrimage, is 36 miles to the north of the city. And a footnote there says, oh, you know what? We'll skip that footnote. Due to the late hour, it was not possible to travel there at night. Baba and the men were traveling with a heavy load of baggage, such as cooking utensils, pans, buckets, lanterns, and bedrolls. Iyengar had been cabled to meet them at the station alone, since he owned a house in Bangalore and was residing there with his family. He had been instructed to arrange for Baba's stay on Nandi Hill and to be careful not to tell anyone. He had done so, including not telling even his family that Baba was expected in the vicinity. Iyengar, however, was perplexed at Baba's arrival so late in the day, asking him, "What am I to do now?" Baba, who was smiling, replied, "This is just what I was about to ask you. What are we to do now? Will we go to your bungalow for the night?" Although pleased, Iyengar was confounded because no arrangements had been made at his home to accommodate Baba and the Mandali. Honored by Baba's request, he said, "It is my family's great good luck." His eyes filled with joyful tears. But when he spotted the 25 pieces of luggage, big and small, Iyengar got a shock and his tears turned cold. He shook nervously, thinking it was going to be next to impossible to carry all those bags and bundles up Nandi Hill. Adding to the load, they still had to purchase all their food supplies, since they would be doing their own cooking. Okay, we can have another reader here. Well, let's go back to the top. Eva, are you there for reading?
Sure.
Okay, pick it up.
When Baba's car stopped outside Iyengar's house at 66 Third Cross Road in Shankarapuram, no one in the family came out. Baba had covered his head with the shawl and tied his hair back to avoid being recognized during the journey. And Lakshmi, who was watching from a distance, failed to recognize him. Lakshmi and the rest of the family were overjoyed when they found out that Baba was in the car. Lakshmi hastened to arrange a room for him upstairs, and the outside veranda was cleared of furniture for the Mandali's use. In the meantime, Baba played with Iyengar's 3 grandchildren, who stayed by his side until late that night. Although quite innocent, the children made it impossible for Baba to take the rest he desired, sticking to him like little leeches. Baba had a painful toothache also. Baba retired after having a meal with Kaka in his room. Early the next morning, Baba was driven around Bangalore for a brief excursion and went past the Tata Science Institute. After going to the market and purchasing the necessary food, Baba and the Mandali left by bus at 9:45 a.m. for Nandi Hill. They occupied reserved seats at the back of the bus, but the other passengers kept staring at Baba during the entire ride. The passengers were fascinated by Baba's gestures as he communicated with Iyengar, Gustaji, Kaka, Chanji, and Jalbhai. The bus was old and quite run down. And during the rough and bumpy ride, they reached Sultanpet at 11:30 a.m. Nandi Hill and its 2,000 steps to the top began from there. 20 coolies were hired to carry the numerous bundles to the top as Baba and the Mandali climbed the great stone staircase. Iyengar, however, was ordered to be carried in a lift chair. As soon as they arrived where they were to stay, Baba went for a walk with Iyengar. Baba's quick movements and agility climbing the hill quite surprised Iyengar, who said, "Baba is so quick with his steps. He runs like a boy." After lunch, Baba went out again with Iyengar and was joined by the Mandali. As they were walking on the path, a poor man and his wife approached from the opposite direction. They were Harijans who quickly stepped off the path to wait humbly for Baba and his men to pass. They were afraid to touch anyone, as untouchability was a serious issue at this time in India, and the downtrodden Harijans were often tormented and harassed. High-class Hindus would not even allow the shadow of an untouchable to cross them. Baba motioned to Iyengar to tell the couple in a friendly manner not to be afraid and to pass alongside them on the path. Thus, these unfortunates who thought themselves outcasts and the lowest of the low unknowingly had the Avatar's darshan and received his blessing without seeking it. Iyengar had arranged for their stay on the hill in the Cunningham's bungalow called Oaklands. And footnote, Sampath Iyengar had accompanied Baba up Nandi Hill, but left the following morning at 6 a.m. with his servant, Persandi. Only the Mandali stayed with Baba while he was in seclusion. They moved in, but Baba did not like it. Although it was a comfortable house, it was at the edge of the path, and passerby could see inside. Baba indicated that he wanted a totally undisturbed place to work in seclusion where no one would come to know of his presence. But now he was forced to conceal his long hair at all times. Baba was irritated also by other matters. No normal necessities were readily available on the hill, and one had to walk 6 miles to purchase the most basic items. Besides this, whatever rice or dal they did purchase contained dirt and pebbles, and it took a long time to clean. Water, too, had to be brought up the hill by a paid coolie, and because the water was soft, the dal took several hours to cook properly. Fresh milk was brought at 7:30 a.m. and not earlier, forcing them to wait for their morning tea, which Baba usually took much earlier, shortly after rising. Kaka was the cook, but he would invariably put too much water on the rice, and it would turn out mushy, with little difference between it and the dal. Despite both being thoroughly cleaned, gravel would still be present. Baba asked Shanji to help clean the rice, but he replied that he had no time. This perturbed Kaka, who taunted, "You have time for idle chit-chatting, but not for half an hour of cleaning." Baba added, "What Kaka says is true. You think that this work is not for you, but look at how Gustaji cleans the pots and sweeps the floor. Half an hour of this work will not impede your work. What is wrong with doing it? While all the others are working, you are taking it easy." In this way, the pricking continued. Actually, Shanji had very little free time. There was the Daily Mail from throughout India, Europe, and America, which Baba wanted attended to immediately. And Shanji was handling all the correspondence single-handedly. The master's words of reprimand cut deeper than a dagger, noted Shanji in his diary, and he lost his temper and could not help but think of leaving Baba and going away. Pacifying Shanji, Baba explained, "I know that you cannot spare the time, but you should understand that I do not say anything without reason. You are under the impression that you labor day and night and that no one else can do the work you are doing. This is a mistake on your part. I also keep some people without work to do, and I have my reasons for that too. Even while apparently not doing anything, they do a lot which you cannot see and would not be able to understand." On 21 April 1934, Baba began looking through a picture book of evolution, which they had brought from Bombay. Over the next few days, Baba marked certain pages and dictated points for a chart he wished made. Cards were played at night for relaxation. On the 25th, Baba spoke about taking action without caring about the results, referring in particular to Gandhi. Even a great soul like Gandhi worries because he wants results. One must sincerely try to do his duties, but the results must always be left with God. Worrying about the results is no good and of no use. If a person wishes to do anything for others, he must do it sincerely. And having done it, he should not worry about the results. For results are not in human hands. It is for humans to do, for God to ordain. To remain aloof from results is not difficult, but men do not try. Because it is human nature to think of the results of one's actions. However, it does not mean one should worry. Man must think, but he must not worry. Try to attribute all your acts to God and let results be his. Gandhi says he does everything for God and attributes it to him, but he still worries because he cares about the results. Baba worked in seclusion on Nandi Hill during certain hours every day and took a walk around the hill in the evening. On the 21st, the nosy gardener of the bungalow happened to glance at Baba through a slit in the window. Seeing him, Baba was very upset and informed the Mandali, "This place is not good for my seclusion. I will complete the work at some other place in Bangalore." And it is 11:50, and I'm sorry, but I have to go to a doctor's appointment.
Okay, all right, let me pause the recording.